on maybe, obviously I don't think we've seen you since, we didn't see you since Kaseya Connect DattoCon.
Yeah.
Chip filled us in on the Inky announcements and things like that. Maybe just if you could give us a state of the union, like what's going on from your perspective.
Well, you mentioned Inky. That acquisition's been an absolute grand slam home run. So there you go, Enrique. There you go. The amount of positive responses we got from that announcement, and since they've now been in the portfolio, is outrageous. So the pipeline for that is massive. There's a ton of we've got 3,000 MSPs that buy Kaseya 365 user. And a lot of them are moving over from Graphis to Inky. That's happening in January. And then we've got a lot of people that are.
I was on a different call on our True Methods call yesterday, and there's some people waiting for it. They were under the impression, or they've been told, that it won't be available until the end of March or the end of Q1. Is that your expectation?
No.
No. So let me kind of reset. So people will be able to join or get access to the product in January and do their own onboarding. Okay, Inky has a really self-sufficient, efficient, and easy way to onboard yourself. What will be available in April is the automated way to do the migration. But people will have access to the product in January.
Would that count also for not raising our minimums, the contract to? I thought that was launching in February, where if we're contracted for 100 and we can go up and down.
You're talking about high watermark in CMQ?
Per user.
Yes. So essentially, if you were on high watermark pricing before, you're just going to be at a committed minimum quantity as of February. That's when you see your first bill for that, which is in February.
So when can we start deploying to not bite ourselves or shoot ourselves in the foot if we don't want bigger quantity?
January.
Contract?
The February billing period is taking into account January usage, Enrique.
So John 1st.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And that applies to K365 user also is switching over to CMQ. So it's both the standalone Inky and the user bundle.
Awesome.
Yeah. So Inky's been extremely well received. Enrique was bringing up what we call CMQ, committed minimum quantity, on a lot of our products, specifically starting beginning of the year, Autotask, SaaS Protection, and Datto RMM. We're doing away with high watermark, and Chip has done an unbelievable job making this happen. So that's been a huge positive for a lot of our customers. You can all thank Chip for that.
For the world.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chip.
You're welcome.
So we made the announcement back in April that we were going to do this. It was our intent, but we didn't think we were able to get it done for 12 to 18 months.
Yeah, I remember that.
Then we put Chip on the job, and he's like, I can do it in 6. So,
Chip, what did you see that accelerated it like that? What was the delta between what was thought to be double the length of time?
Honestly, force of will and urgency. It is a complicated problem to solve when you have as many moving parts as you do in a billing system as big as Kaseya's. But if you break things down into their individual components, it was doable. I mean, it was not easy. I don't want to make it sound like, oh, all you got to do is apply some muscle to it and the stains are going to come off. But it was definitely doable. And we knew we needed to do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
That's my biggest sell in forums when they talk about how I love K so much and they have a couple of issues and I tell them, look, this, and they don't believe me. And I'm like, man, I'm just telling you what it is. So yes.
yeah. So it's been, and then the Enter ID backup, that was a big announcement we did, and that's gone over really, really well. So when you kind of factor in the billing policy changes, you factor in the new releases we've done with the Cirrus 6, BCDR boxes, obviously Inky, Enter ID, we definitely feel like customer sentiment is had a massive positive upswing, and we're looking to carry that momentum into Q1 of 26, and we're gearing up for massive announcements at Connect in April.
And then also online archive backup with Datto SaaS Protect, because you just had it on the spanning side. So that's a huge one.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on. We're hiring a lot of really, really talented folks that already starting to make an impact. I believe that will be really kind of meaningful in terms of what we're trying to get accomplished. And we have a very aggressive timeline and roadmap to get a lot done in 26, but I feel good about it. I see somebody's hand up. Who's that?
Yeah, I just had a quick question since you guys mentioned the billing changes and everything, and obviously Datto SaaS protection. So one thing I have not gotten a clear answer from our rep as well is kind of trying to understand how does quotas work with Datto SaaS protection? Because it's it's a shared pool, right? So at some point we potentially hit a cap. So if we hit the cap, and they keep telling us verbally, well, you're never going to hit it. We're not going to charge you for overages anyway. And that's great, but that's a conversation. That's not a written statement in stone. So I don't know if that's something that's been kind of worked out, because I would love to switch everyone I have from Dropsuite like right now, but I can't until I have a very clear answer in stone on kind of what the situation is going to be there.
It's a good question. Chip, you have any insight on that one?
Yeah, I think the best thing to do would be to reach out to Brett directly, the GM there. But as I understand it, the shared pool, if you do go over it, it's not going to increase your contract value. It'll just be a temporary usage because we can expect it to go up or down. So we're treating it as a variable usage component like everything else. But I would definitely reach out to Brett directly. If you need his there. Thanks, Jim.
Yep.
Okay, I will reach out to him to get some clarity on that. Because we ran into something similar. I don't know if anyone else has run into this with like the Kaseya hardware. We ran into that with the switches, where we deployed a bunch of switches, and then we were told after the 3-year commitment, the customers have to pay $50 a month to keep them going for cloud management. So that's just kind of what we're trying to avoid, is trying to get that information up front.
Yeah, that makes sense. Actually, it's btori@datto.com. I'm putting that in right now. So hit Brent up with that question. Copy me and Chip on there.
As of today, just FYI, it's 50 gigabytes per user, and that's shared on the pool as an MSP. But our issue is the same thing. We're on Drop, so we have mailboxes that are a terabyte or 2 terabytes. So your average gets eaten very quickly. And then you get charged overage, Chip, but that's never going to come down because it's only going to grow.
Yeah, Jim, I will say my experience, because we actually had that to go over for the first time last month, is that we are charged just the incremental over. The challenge that I have is that there's no way to identify which customers have gone over their our quote allotment, and within that then we have to drill down and search for each mailbox. And then we found that the reporting back was in my case, we have both a M365 tenant and a Google tenant. It was counting them both twice. So there are a couple features there about how it's calculating usage and storage is not correct. In other words, it totaled them both and then duplicated it.
Okay. So, Andy, that's another, if I would
You want to
encourage
send that to Bill or Brent
Brent.
rather?
Brent.
Yeah.
So it's
Okay.
Brent Torrey. So btorrey@datto.com.
Yeah.
Copy me and Chip and all of these.
Okay.
Any more feedback? This is actually really, really good
Yeah.
stuff for us to hear on things that are not SaaS alerts, but Kaseya,
That
we're just beginning to turn our attention to those sorts of things.
that becomes the weakest link now of user, which wasn't the biggest weakest link. There was Graphics, but now this is where, like they just mentioned right now, when you have Dropsuite with unlimited backup because they use deduplication, and now we have to go to a model. We would love to put everyone one as of January 1st, where there's no more contractual obligation past our current commitment to the mailboxes of concern backup because just your basic license gives you 50 gigabyte of regular backup, a regular mailbox plus 50 gigabyte online. You're already at 100 gigabytes with a basic or standard license. You go to business premium, now you're at 150 gigabytes.
Mhm.
So gravity will tell you you're going to come down really quickly on that one.
Yeah. All good points. And definitely want to address them.
Jim, so you've been in this role, VP of, or yeah, Chief Product Officer for how many months now?
7 as of this week.
So what would you say is the biggest thing that's surprised you? What's been the biggest challenge for you, and what thing are you most excited about?
The easiest one to answer is what I'm most excited about, because the opportunity that we have in front of us is so awesome. There's not many, I've said this in the press a couple different times, but it's rare that you ever have an opportunity to help change an industry. And I believe that that's our opportunity. It's not easy. It requires a lot of thought and a lot of dedication and commitment from a lot of folks. But I believe that that's the opportunity that we have here at Kaseya. We're at a turning point in managed services, and there's a lot that's going to happen in the next 12 to 36 months, and being able to help this community navigate those changes and be hopefully the platform that people turn to enable those changes. It's a massive opportunity. It's a massive responsibility, but it's a massive opportunity. And that's what gets me up every single day. In terms of things that has surprised me, and I was actually talking to a friend of mine last night who's in the industry, works actually for another vendor in our space. And what he was telling me was, he's like, I'm shocked how fast you guys have been able to turn around sentiment. Like, obviously everyone has detractors and there's still haters out there, whatever, but on the whole, it's amazing how fast you guys have been able to, with some policy changes and with a new attitude towards the customer, how fast people have been coming around and saying, you know what, I'm willing to give Kaseya a shot now. Like, I'm willing to really focus on what my future could be with Kaseya. And that's awesome and really meaningful. So I would say, from a surprise perspective, I mean, I knew this was going to be a lot of work, and I guess I don't have that too much to surprise me. When you're in this industry, Andrew, you and I have been in this industry for a long time. A lot of other people in this call have as well. But I've been in for more years than I care to admit. So I would say that not much really surprises me in this space anymore. But I'll say this. At DattoCon, we announced our plan for the future in terms of, like digital workers and our agentic outline. People are really, really jazzed about it and really enthusiastic about our vision. So that's been, maybe not a surprise, but it's nice to see.
So I had speaking of our early days of working together, Jim, when you were CEO of Thrive, I didn't realize until today, Will Omsky worked for you and then Chip.
Will Minsky?
Will
Minsky, yeah. Yeah, he was, I remember the day I interviewed him. It was 2007, 2008, something like that.
Yeah. So he had to really, it was, because he and I were catching up. I'm like, he's like, yeah, I'm up in Boston. He's like, by the way, Jim Lippy, right? I'm like, yeah. He started to tell me the story. So
yeah,
I thought it was good. So I'll say one thing, Jim, and I don't know if I don't think he's on the call. I've been looking back and forth. In my opinion, you guys got to get Leron out in front of partners. Like, he is lethal in a good way. Like,
yeah,
he's, when I'm seeing like guys like Vince Kent at Synthrio out talking, who are very knowledgeable on this, and there's this immense thirst for people that truly understand AI. Like, Vince is out there really truly explaining how the RAG models work, and not that necessarily we're all going to start doing the type of coding that he and someone like Leron do, but Leron, we had him while you were away do a presentation that he does internally for your group.
Yeah,
he is an absolute killer.
dialed in.
Yeah, absolutely amazing resource.
Yeah, I know. It's there's some people you come across you wish you could clone, and he's definitely on the list.
We can do that these days, Jim.
Well, I saw Tom Brady cloned his dog.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm looking into it.
All right. Good. All right. Thanks for that update. Other wins. Chip, you got anything to kick things off and see if some partners raise their hand?
Let's get some partners going. On the business side, I'm definitely content to let Jim run wins of the week for once, which I think he's done for the last 15 minutes here. So I've got a win for Corey. I was just before the call sitting reading a brand new article on a Fortinet 0-day. So there's a win for Corey if he's on the call.
He is on the call.
Another one?
I don't wish ill will or harm on any of our competitors based off what I've been going
I was
through
just glad it wasn't you. When I see something dated today.
We don't need to be in the news anymore for a while, right? We just no more news, please. So yeah. Speaking of which, Jim, did you get a chance to talk to Michael? And
I did in Australia, yes.
Okay. He'll fill me in. He's just coming back from Singapore.
The trip that he was on was amazing. Like, he told me all the stops he had to make before he got back home. I'm like, dude, that's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I have to go on the other side of the planet to see him, but it was good to see him.
That's how it goes sometimes.
Am I the only one seeing me nonstop on this?
Oh, you're spotlighted. It's cool. It's how it should be.
Okay, so it's time to take the spotlight off. Okay, cool.
All right, so partner wins. What do we got out there?
Yeah,
Tina, did you find somebody to hand your customer off to?
Not
It was
me.
kind of a joke.
What's that?
It was kind of a joke, but no, I haven't chatted with him again. He's not a customer, remember? It's just a potential customer.
Wow, prospect.
That's true. He's somebody that wanted to be a customer that didn't meet the politeness standard, and now you have to find another home for him.
Yeah, he didn't quite meet our standards.
Rich, what do you got?
So just before the weekend, a SaaS Alerts triggered a outside location sign-in for a Philadelphia-based law firm. And made an inquiry to find out if they had, signed on an Indian worker for remote consulting work. But it was like late Friday, so I didn't get any answers back right away. And then what came along with that was a rule change, and the rule change actually looked kind of normal. It didn't have like special characters or unusual. It looked like it would name, specific domains related to the university that the one of the lawyers is a professor at. So we let it sit for a few days, and then started to notice that it didn't sit right with my boss. He said, "I think we should block this." So it's a good thing we caught it, stopped it, because the rules that he was setting up was to prepare for a compromise, either with the lawyer, or with the athletic association that he was associated to. We don't know which direction they were going to go with their compromise, but we caught it, and shut it down fast enough. And I did ask the lawyer. I said, "Did you set up a rule to route some of your mail from your association to the athletic group? Did you send it to our RSS subscriptions folders?" He said, "I have no idea what you're talking about." He had no, he doesn't make rules in Outlook and stuff like that. So yeah, it totally was the beginning of what could have been kind of a messy situation. So good for SaaS Alerts. We shut it down pretty fast.
Was it Jim Rich? Was it an account takeover? Like, were they literally in the mailbox? And
They were in the mailbox, and the thing is, I tried to check for anything that was, any files that were read after that guy got in, and I didn't get a lot of reads on files that were accessed. I did some email trace dumps. I haven't gone back over them with a fine-tooth comb yet, but I used the analysis SaaS Alerts to see if any SharePoint files were opened or anything like that. So nothing stood out. I could not find a phishing email that looked like he may have clicked on something in near proximity. So I don't know how this person got his credentials.
oh,
And they were in for a little while. They weren't in very long, and we haven't seen anything else as a side effect of this since we shut it all down. So,
Rich, did you track
keeping-
down the IP address? Did you look for, and maybe put that on, a deny list, a conditional access list that you might use for this customer? Did you see a change in the agent, the user agent that was connecting with the credentials, indicating a device change?
It did make unknown device, comments. It had that in the assessed event. It was from India, and it was noted as malicious, so it had those attributes. The other thing that I wanted to say was, so the customer had security defaults on, so we scrapped that and put conditional policies in for out of country blocks, which in general we tend to do that. We tend to try to get the conditional policies in there, but in some cases, some of our longer customers, we haven't gone back to redo those. So yeah, if you want a little sketch, I could put a little email together and show it to you. But what happened was, when I saw the out of location thing, my first thing was, I better check and find out if they're working with somebody in India before I shut it down. So now we're trying to think about that philosophy. Maybe it's better to lock down the accounts first and then ask a question about the remote resource. So in the future, I think we're going to take that tact, which is, if we see something from outside location, we'll lock it down and improve it afterwards.
Yeah.
So you guys didn't have India geo blocked?
What happened was, we had security defaults on. So apparently security defaults does not do an out of country sort of assessment, as far as I could tell. The person signed in. I mean, so that's why we, a couple days ago, we said turn off the security defaults and put in the conditional policies to do country blocks. So, which we have location and name location blocks on most of our clients. So. Yeah, so but all I could think of was, without SaaS alerts, it would have been possible. It would be impossible to see these. Unless you have something else that's watching the events from Microsoft, how would you know?
Just anecdotally, post-mortem, Rich, are you guys going to look at, for your SOPs on like how this one got missed? Not to pick on you, I'm just saying like.
No, it was totally my reticence to lock it down because of the common thing that professional companies are doing now is hiring, overseas workers to do some administrative work. So I was just a little bit worried that if I shut it down, I may have been blocking something that they were, maybe it was a consultant that they were involved with. So I needed to get feedback from them to prove whether it was a bona fide access or not.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was mostly my problem.
Got it.
A lot of good comments, Rich, in the chat from other folks on the call and also Ben. But I'll just make a general comment that that whole decision tree that you're thinking about reconsidering. This falls under that ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. If you wind up locking the account and you're going to find out whether you're right or wrong from the customer really fast. And I think we've had this discussion with other partners on this call in the past. And generally speaking, the reaction to the customer is after they get over being a little bit pissed and realize what happened, that you guys have these tools in place to make sure they don't get hacked. It winds up being a huge win for you from a customer relations standpoint.
Yeah, so it's totally on me because I was just hedging on that one. But again, like I said, we changed our tactic. We're gonna do exactly what you said, which was err on the side of caution, lock it down, and then explain it later.
Yep. Andrew, we got some hands up. I'm
Yeah.
not sure who went first, so.
I'll got Gary next.
Helps when I unmute. Yeah, we actually, I hate to say, but we actually had two. And Chip, your comment about, kind of earning the respect, we've been after one of our clients. They're in healthcare equipment, and they use their SSL VPN, and of course, lacks security. One of their users got breached. SaaS Alerts did alert us and helped us to piece together the course of action. And in tracing it, we were able to trace it back to the VPN as a method of access. But the good news is once we saw some signs of action, both on the server and in their online account, we shut it down very, very quickly. We immediately turned off the VPN, kind of along those, take action and repent later. We shut it down, and, fortunately, the client the next morning said, authorized us, yes, put on MFA, get the FORTA tokens and do it the right way. And earlier this week, we had one, which was unfortunately borderline. SaaS Alerts logged some activity. A user opened a file. We're still not 100% sure if it was a token hijack or a file that they opened that was reported as being hosted overseas. But ultimately, the threat actor did gain access to the mailbox, created a couple of forwarding rules, sent out a handful of messages, and very quickly thereafter, we were in and cut off access. So, Ben helped us out, looked at the logs, and it wasn't definitive, but the good news is we were able to take action. We had the concrete information to go back to the client and say, yeah, somebody sent out some messages, 20 or 30 or whatever it was, but we cut them off before they could do anything. above and beyond. They didn't get access to anything else. They didn't install any applications or, as far as we know, exfiltrate any other data. So
Great.
I'd call
Love
it a
to hear
win.
it works.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Good job, Gary. Sujit.
Yeah, we've actually finally, after kind of going through a lot of the fortified templates, we've been able to kind of narrow down to what we wanted to apply by default to a lot of our customers. And this week we finally started rolling that out. So a lot of our customers typically tend to hover at that 50%. I mean, we've been talking to people about turning on things forever, but it's just the amount of time it takes to kind of go through those tenants and look at all these things. And obviously with the templates, we've had the option to just kind of build out a list, hit apply and move on. And we started doing that this week. And on average, most of our customers are now sitting at 80% that we've applied it to. We've had no real complaints or issues come back to us. The logs have been pretty reliable in terms of any errors or problems that the template runs into. So I've been able to kind of address and fix things as needed. And it's just saved me like hours and hours of work. And with the holidays coming up, it means I'll sleep a little better. So it's just been nice to leverage that finally.
And with
That's
the holidays,
awesome.
Nice.
great job. And with the holidays coming up, that's when threat actors love to play, right? Holidays, long weekends.
Exactly.
Great timing, getting that done. Andy.
I thought I would make a stab at this with Jim on the phone, and that is Rocket Cyber has feeds coming in from SaaS Alerts, from endpoints, even from firewalls. And it would be wonderful to get an alert from Rocket Cyber that says, you know what, your Sonic Walls firmware is too old, it needs to be addressed because of this breach, or to have breach cybersecurity information begin to feed back to us through Rocket Cyber. I think there's a real value proposition for us to make sure that we thought we took care of all of our firewalls. Oh, we missed one, right?
Mhm.
To have that capability come back to us in a ticket through a Rocket Cyber or a SaaS Alerts if it happens to be related to a enterprise application. I think those would be great.
It's crossing the line between vulnerability offering versus just normal stock offering, though.
Okay.
I wonder if that wouldn't be better served with one of the other Kaseya products, which I probably should know the name of, but is there not an auditing tool that will?
Yeah.
So then my thought would be is you'd use that tool to do the inventory, the assessment, and then it would throw an alert towards us.
I'm looking at ongoing, in other words, you run a vulnerability scan once a year at the most. You have to pay per IP. I'm looking at, we have syslogs running into Rocket Cyber, and that's where I thought perhaps this could be taken. That's all I'm looking for, a feedback loop, a way to say, hey, we haven't missed anything.
Logs typically won't show like firewall firmware versions when they come in. That's not typical to what a syslog would come out of a firewall.
Fair enough.
Yeah, you're definitely looking for a vulnerability offering. And for anybody on this call, I highly recommend if you look at vulnerability offerings, it's something that's more than a year, more than a quarter, more than monthly even, right? So
At this point, right, Corey?
there's plenty of offerings out there that scan daily, scan every 8 hours. Obviously you have the 800-pound juggernauts out there, Qualys, Tenable. A lot of the issues for MSPs with those particular product lines are, it's like kind of one-time scans and they just give you this large pile of stuff to do. And when do you have time to do it? So something that provides you continuous vulnerability scanning.
Yeah. I just had that exact conversation with a customer last week in Florida, Corey. They use Tenable and Qualys, and they have that exact issue.
Yeah. And so they get this large list of stuff to do, and they're like,
yeah,
where do I start? I don't have time to do all this. What am I doing here?
Yeah.
So.
Sujit, you had a question. Has anyone switched to SaaS Alerts for ticket generation? Since there was a feed from Rocket Cyber, they're thinking of turning it off. Do you want to answer that? Possibly Chip or Jim? I don't know.
Yeah, I think the answer is yes. We have some partners that let SaaS Alerts do all the ticket generation because we get the data from Rocket Cyber. Others use both. I don't think there's anybody that's doing it in reverse because the Rocket Cyber isn't getting all the SaaS Alerts data. But I think that's a common scenario to use SaaS Alerts as your primary ticket generation. You know, I assume when you say ticket generation, you're talking about integrating with your PSA, and giving just, those kinds of tickets, correct?
Yeah, because we have auto task. And so right now we have SaaS Alerts and Rocket Cyber generating tickets. But the main problem we run into is I've opened tickets with Kaseya and they told me the same. I guess the way Rocket Cyber ingests the data, like for example, Defender, if I were to hit the suppression button to create a rule, it only pulls the values Rocket Cyber has. It doesn't pull like the Defender values. So like the type of alert, the level of alert, I can't mute those. So it just becomes extremely noisy. Whereas when I look at it in SaaS Alerts, the suppression button, I can get as custom as I want with a lot of it. And I was just looking at it, I was like, you know what? I think at some point we got to snip one of these here. SaaS Alerts is just giving us the better data and the better customizability so that we don't have to kind of, keep hitting all these low level things and wasting time with it, kind of burning out some of our tax.
Yeah. The only other comment I make to you is that I wish Lee Ron were on the call. I know where he is and he's on a call that he can't jump and join us, but Lee Ron is heading up the effort to unify the back-end data flows of SaaS Alerts and Rocket Cyber. There's a lot of work that needs to be done and that's going on there, but that will be revealing itself, at the end of Q1 next year. So we're aware of the overlap and there's a lot of people that use both products because they like to have the Rocket Cyber 24/365 SOC rather than relying on their own team, and it does generate overlap. There's no question. So we're going to make that easier on you, but for now, I would say that the sensible thing is to take the path that you're thinking about, and I know that other MSPs have done that.
Chip, possibly an ignorant question. Can you talk about how KSIM plays into this? Like if now all of a sudden KSIM is integrated to SaaS Alerts, do I need a Rocket Cyber, or is this a similar thing?
I just did without saying the word KSIM.
Oh, so in other words, it could be like an Inky where I'm going to get off Graphis and go to Inky. I'm going to get off and I'm going to jump into KSIM.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, so if we're going to run down that rabbit hole, Rocket Cyber and SaaS Alerts will still be offered on their own because they obviously come at different price points and people have different tools that they want to do for different things. But the unification of the data from the endpoint to the cloud is KSIM. That's what will cover all of it in one shot. So, and it will also come as a managed XDR service. So, so that's the unification. That's what it becomes.
Got it.
So you're suggesting at some point there'll be an upgrade or an additional add-on to the SaaS Alerts SKU to add KSIM on the back end, which would then open up other sources of logging also?
Yes.
So can I run it if I'm like I have my own SOC, I want to run it with my team, or is it only managed through?
Either or.
Okay.
Isn't Rocket, I'll be devil's advocate here, isn't Rocket Cyber alerting you on all relevant alerts that you should pay attention to?
Not always, honestly. The reason I like SaaS Alerts better is like Rocket Cyber will tell me like, Jimmy John logged in from Switzerland, and that's great. But in SaaS Alerts, there's more logs that feed in, like 365. I have Unify with RMM, so I can look at that and know right away, oh, he's traveling, or oh, that makes sense. He was just there. I can see the other logs that correlate. It just, from like an action perspective, SaaS Alerts is just easier to act on, whereas Rocket Cyber is kind of a little more broad. You know what I mean? It's kind of like opening your window and being like, hey, great sale somewhere right now, and it's just for a lot of my level 1 techs, they see that and they're like, what do I got to do? And I'm like, nothing. If you look here, there's no action needed. And so that's why I'm just at this point with Rocket Cyber, it just seems like there's only so much it can really do, especially Defender. We have a lot of low-level Defender alerts where Defender's already quashed the whole thing. You know, it's logged it, it's let us know I log in a Defender portal 9 out of 10 times, it's already handled everything. But because the Rocket Cyber ticket generates, the tech has to go look at it, realize it's already been remediated. In SaaS Alerts, I can see that it's just more clearly, I can see that chain of action telling me it's already done. And I can suppress certain actions and things like that. So I think it's just the way it interprets data more than anything else.
Just be careful of doubling up, right? As you kind of annotated, your guys are probably just getting hammered with alerts, and then you
Yeah,
also have Rocket Cyber sending you alerts. You know, a third party entity outside of your organization sending you alerts in, and then it gets very, I'll call it, the waters get very muddy when you have two different
exactly.
streams coming in at one time, and who's responsible for what, and ownership of actions as an example. So just
And part of that's on us. Like when we rolled out Rocket Cyber originally, like we had never really worked with the tool like that before. So it was kind of like just turn everything on and we'll figure out what we got to SWAT. And whereas now with SaaS Alerts, we're taking a much slower approach. Like we're only taking action on anything that's KSIM related or IOC related, and everything else I will audit specifically before a tech ever has to look at it to really determine, you know, are suppression rules a better use here? Do we need to correct something? You know, is this actionable for this organization so that our techs aren't getting burnt out and they're dealing more with things that are actionable. So great platforms, just, you know, we just got to go slow.
You're in the like an early adopter, Sajid, where you have access to the KSIM already.
Yeah. We're always early. We're early at every party actually. So
You think so? Just a question. So we're doing this certification. I don't know if Ben's on at SaaS Alert certification right at Boom. Will KSIM be ready, Chip? And if it was, do you think that would add more value to that workshop?
KSIM will be ready.
I think we're gonna focus on SaaS Alerts for the workshop, Andrew.
Okay.
You know, we're talking February.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to be quite where we want to be with KSIM
With that being
in
said,
terms of the UI.
I got to jump to a 145, but it was great seeing everybody. This is always, when I can attend, it's my favorite call of the week. Bar
If you were
none.
your favorite, you'd be here more often.
you get him, Gary.
The case. Not the case. I'm torn a
Nice
lot
to
of
see you, Jim.
different directions. Great seeing everybody.
Great seeing you, Jim.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye. All right. Anybody else?
Might be the longest customer wins discussion we've had on any single call.
It was
This is
good.
great
I forgot
stuff.
my wins.
What about the one when I asked everybody to share their feelings?
That was, that really
I
brought
missed
out
that one.
everybody. Yeah, you were off, and Tina like, let me try again on articulating this.
Asking 30 male tech egos to share their feelings.
It went really well, didn't it, Tina? Really well. We'll sit and hold hands in Las Vegas together and try this.
Oh yeah, baby.
Enrique, what do you got for us before
I
you go down
forgot
this
them.
emotional rabbit hole?
I did have some wins. Well, my emotions are
I
always
love
going
what
on
Mark
my back.
just said. Mark goes, what are that's great. Good, Enrique.
I had some wins, but I forgot them. Seriously.
No, you mean that literally you actually forgot them?
Yes. Not surprising, Jeff.
He just had so many wins, he can't possibly remember all of them.
Yeah. It's too many. There's too many feelings, Sam. Too many feelings.
Yeah.
Rich, so you posted you got the logs there or the update?
There was a summary, just a summary of the I had the log files that I extracted to spreadsheets so I could look at them.
Okay. Anything stand out to you now that you kind of reviewed it?
No, I gotta I want to do a little bit look back on like a day's worth of events before that to see if I can find something.
Got it.
But Ben mentioned the unknown device, and I mentioned that I had not totally felt comfortable with the unknown device marking because I see like devices, event flows with no, plenty of devices that are known. And I guess in the past, the mapping has always been kind of peculiar, where it tries to make an assessment of it, like who's using what device. Made me kind of wonder about the whole, mechanism of establishing a known device versus unknown device. But maybe the unknown ones can be tracked and be used in rules.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, yeah, I just had,
I mean,
good.
I can speak on that. So, what I recommend is, the detection of a known and unknown device is not perfect. We do the best that we can, and with machine learning, it will get better. That said, most of the folks that I've seen use the unknown device successfully in respond rules is using it as a and condition. You do not want to have the unknown piece be by itself. But what you can do is something that says, if somebody logged in from an outside approved location and they created an Outlook inbox rule and they're on an unknown device, then now we've got something that looks really, really fishy rather than just knocking people out anytime they're on an unknown device.
yeah. And
Right.
in this case, a risky activity event flag from Microsoft. Like you have a whole bunch of indicators here. Like the output from the logs, Rich, that you posted literally is the definition for me anyway of an IOC rule that
All right.
that you could be utilizing. And Christine, who joined us fairly on, said, "Can someone teach me how to make rules?" You just got a primer. I would definitely join, office hours later in the week, and the guys can take you through it or work with one of the onboarding specialists. But that's exactly what it's for. Looking at conditions like those, combining it into a rule, and away you go.
All right. Thanks for the advice.
Rich, one other question I have is: do you guys enforce either Entra or ID or iTunes, Jesus, Intune with your customer base? Are you guys
Uh,
using Unify really
Only a few
proactively?
customers, let's say we have, I don't know, 200 plus clients. Only a few of them actually are using Intune. So
And
we're most,
are the others
most
willing to
of,
do device joins for Entra?
I tried to do that on a couple test scenarios and I could not get that to work efficiently. We have Entra P1 on most clients, and I don't know if I could, the few times that I tried to get that identity stuff working, it never gelled. So I don't know what the piece is that's missing. I think you have to have Entra P1 plus something else, I think, to make that work right. And if it requires Intune, then most of our clients don't have they're not using Intune right now. It's slowly changing. I mean, they're moving into that direction, but most of them don't.
I
All
was
right. Enrique?
chatting, answering questions. I hope the silence wasn't somebody said Adam and I was supposed to answer something.
No, no.
Okay. All right. I heard Unify and Intra and I was like, uh-oh.
No.
Enrique,
Enrique? You're on mute, bud.
You see, Chip, I even forget to unmute. So last week at IT Nation, I saw a solution that's coming out for bring your own devices on mobile phones. I'd be very curious. They're able to modify conditional access policies based on having the software or not once you integrate Entra into the tool. So I'd be very curious if that would give additional information about the devices that would write into the logs in Entra and be able to identify mobile devices, because I know that's been an issue for a while.
So we are actively working on the Microsoft devices integration for Unify. We are very, very, very close. I wish we were done 6 months ago, but it was actually a lot more effort than we originally thought, just because of the sheer amount of devices that we pull in across the almost, tens of thousands of partners we have now. It required a lot of optimization. When we do pull those in, we will be pulling in registered devices and we will be pulling in Intune managed devices. If neither of those are what you're talking about, then the best way to capture it is via the agent string and some crafty logic in that respect. But the true BYOD unregistered devices will continue to pain us a little longer until we come up with some genius level idea for that.
So once
Enrique,
they
you talked about
enable
a
our,
third-party tool that you
yes,
saw?
yes, we signed up for their beta. They're on the retail side or for security and stuff about like credit check and all your background, make sure credentials aren't stolen. They're coming out with a business side of it specifically for Entra, for bring your own devices, but they tie into Entra. So as soon as they pull in Entra information, if users that you tag should have the mobile software, which is not an MDM, so it's not intrusive. And the purpose is that we give the end user personal benefits, like we're monitoring your credit or we're monitoring dark web, whatever it is they offer. They'll be able to tag with conditional access and say, don't allow these users to log in from mobile device because they are not running our software. So that's once they sign us up for the beta, I'll reach out to you guys, see if there's additional data we can see with that solution.
So the go-to-market motion for just not paying for business premium and using Intune is we're going to give you all this other consumer style credit monitoring stuff.
Well, we have but device users that we don't own the phone, they don't want us to manage their phone. They're like, shit, no, this is my phone. We don't want you to lock it down. We don't want you to have access to this. So this is not an MDM. It's a different approach, but gives us MDM visibility, and they're able to modify conditional access policies to allow you in or not if you're not running their software. So the problem is putting an MDM on a mobile phone that's not yours.
But they want Outlook and Teams and everything else on their mobile device.
Correct. And other owners also want us to have access to their mobile phone, like to put their email on there, but
mobile application management.
It's more just to control Microsoft Entra environment, Teams, OneDrive, SharePoint, Outlook kind of thing as of now. That's what they're focusing on.
But that's what mobile application management does it not? That you already have with Business Premium?
Yes, but you have to install the MDM portion of it, which now you're taking control of the phone.
Well, you're not taking control of the phone completely.
No.
The first version of MDM products out there, you basically had to sign your life away and accept the fact that if your company wanted to remove its data, it was going to wipe your whole phone. That's not the way it works anymore.
Like we have the BYOD policies both for Android and iOS and Intune, and
we use MAM. You should check it out. They just have to use Outlook mobile app, Teams, and it just controls the apps, keeps it separate. You don't need to control the device, enroll the device. It's amazing.
And how do you know that device is authorized?
Because they have to register it when they open the app and you apply the policy to them. They have to use the apps. They can't add it to the native mail app in iOS or Android. They have to.
But you just said the keyword. You have to register the device.
No. The policy applies to the user. It's a mobile application management policy, and it applies to the Entra user. So the second they open the app and you've applied that policy,
that's for the mobile app. That's a restrict from what mobile phone you can log into Outlook.
Oh no, you can't. You're not restricting the phone, but
exactly. Here you're restricting the phone.
You can authorize only from managed applications, so you don't allow it login from anything else. So they would have to go through the process of authorizing the application. I don't know. It's working amazing.
No, I'll check it out definitely. I've seen the policies and stuff. I just feel this one being able to know the phone, and then since they have antivirus also on the solution, you're able to check out if there's any type of breach or malware or something on the device as well.
What I would say, Eric, please.
So this is a topic near and dear to my heart. I think we're way ahead of ourselves right here. We got to determine what the policy is for the client, what they want to give their clients access to, and how they want to give them access to it. And once we define that, this makes this whole conversation super easy, right? You can have, nobody has remote access to anything, mobile device or whatever. They have to have a agent on it. If they don't have an agent on it, maybe they can access it only through remote apps. And it's so you define all these different scenarios and put it in their company policy and then deploy it, right? You don't have to get into all these different.
I love what you said. I love what you said, Eric. You literally almost took the words out of my mouth. I was gonna say this is where our shared responsibility model comes in really importantly. And, if they're gonna say we want to access all these apps, but they won't let you, put some type of management and, things that you need to do to protect, the device and what a threat actor could access, it's no bueno, right, Eric? I mean, then they've got.
It isn't a mature, secure environment, Andrew and Eric. We have a lot of small to medium businesses. They're not asking us to protect shit because they don't care. We're going the extra mile.
They're not supposed to ask. You're supposed to bring it up to them.
That's the issue. You're taking on their liability.
I'm trying to protect them as best as possible with tools that are available.
Back it up. Back it up.
Yeah.
You got to define what your responsibilities are and what their requirements are for their users, and if that's the only way you're going to be able to successfully manage it.
They're fully co-managed environments that we do not have responsibility at all.
Then that's why
that doesn't mean we won't help them if there are solutions out there that can help them.
But that's where a shared responsibility model comes in so importantly here, especially in a co-managed, because then you're going to get this when there is an incident.
Yeah, it depends on what your definition of co-manage is, right? Our definition of co-manage is they do reactive support only, and we do all the higher level stuff. So the responsibility is ours. So
we just sell them tools.
Okay, then why do you care?
Because
we're tool vendor. You're buying cloud apps for us.
I started this business to try to help users. So
if they don't allow you to help them by the nature of your agreement, you're in a lose-lose.
Yeah, that's where my concern with you on your liability, Enrique, and not being, you're doing work that you have no indemnification for in your agreements.
You just got to be very sure, Enrique, that they are acknowledging in writing that they don't want to take advice on how to better secure
it's in
their
our
information systems
and scope of work.
All right. Well, in the spirit, we know you're awesome, Enrique, always trying to help.
No, I appreciate it.
And it's good to talk about this stuff, so I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is.
Fire them all, right, Tina?
How can I take Tina's customers or prospects if I have this tight policy, Eric? Not going to work.
Just fire them all, Enrique. Just like Andrew said.
Yeah. See you guys. Great call.
See you guys.
Great to see you guys. Bye.
Bye, everyone. So long.